I'm Amy, and this is A-Star Reads, and it's time for another Sunday Sum Up. So this month of October is going very fast, and I'm a little, kind of surprised how quickly it's moving. But it's been good. This week was actually pretty slow moving as far as like what I had to get done and the amount of homework I had. I did have one big project that turned out pretty cool, and I'm actually going to share it with you later on, so stay tuned for that. I also ended up getting tricked into joining another readathon, or a readathon this month, when I wasn't planning on joining any readathons. And so I am now on the Serial Killers team for Squash That series. And this is a readathon that's hosted by Kayla from Kayla Reads and Bailey from Is Bailey Reading, and they do it quite often. And this month I was like, nope, I'm not doing any readathons, so as much as I would love to, I'm not gonna do it. And I was creeping on their Discord because it's just been fun following everybody's progress, because they're actually doing teams this time. And just been creeping, just keeping an eye on what's going on. And they were finally like, you should just join, Amy. And you're reading sequels right now anyways, so you might as well just join. And I was like, oh, okay. So here's the thing though, I'm a little bit extra. So I, of course, had to create a Bujo page for this because I wasn't going to join this readathon and not create a Bujo page. So when I should have been doing homework and stuff, instead I was doing this. I think it turned out pretty darn cute. So I have my Squash That series, the dates that it's going for. It's just going through to today, Sunday. And then the book and authors. And these are all the things you get points for. So you get points for the number of pages it is. And ideally for this particular round, you're reading books that have longer page count. So you get more points for books that are higher in page count. And then this part is the part that's funny, and you can take off points if you are doing certain things like finishing a series, reading a book that's been on your TBR for over a year. And so it takes off points from the other team, and our other team, the other team is like minus 2,000 or something right now. It's pretty rough. So I have logged 2 so far. These are both short stories, so they're getting only 50 points each, but then I was able to take off a certain number of points from the other team. And then I have other books that I need to add here. So I will be filling this out, and I'll give you a little update once I've done that. And this last weekend, we had a challenge day where each hour, Bailey was putting up new challenges. So if you did that challenge for the whole hour, or you completed that challenge within the hour, and then you got coins. And these coins could be put towards different things, like giving your team an extra 100 points, or taking off points from the other team, or something like that. So this is how this spread turned out. I really like how it turned out, and I'm going to be filling out these with the books that I have finished. So yeah, I'm doing a readathon when I said I wasn't going to, but it's going smoothly. It's a lot of fun, and I get to creep even more in the Discord now because I'm actually part of a team. So I've got quite a few books I need to add to my spread. I'm hoping to get a few more done. Right now it's Friday because I need to get this done in advance before Sunday. And I've got some mangas and my Magic Treehouse books, what I'm hoping to include on this list. So I'm hoping to get those done soon. And I do have one big one that will give me some extra points that's over 400 pages. So that's good. And you probably saw that in the introduction that we had a ton of smoke this week, and it was really bad. Like, I haven't seen smoke here that bad in a while, and it was just icky. It was rough on the lungs, rough on the eyeballs, because it made your eyes burn. It's raining now, so at least we're getting the rain in. It's finally starting to be fall. I'm ready for fall. Let's just bring it on. Okay, so I want to share something really cool with you. So I've been creating this program. This is for my tech class because we're doing a tech club. So we're using Makey-Makeys, which are these little things like game controller sort of things, but you use these alligator clips to attach. There's a loud motorcycle. These alligator clips to attach to these, and you can make unique controllers with this, but you could also use this as a controller, and it attaches to the computer in whatever program you're using. So I've got a million of these guys that are kind of in the way. So I made a controller for my game because this is actually a movement activity game, like a sort of like an exercise game in a sense. And you use your feet. This actually goes on the ground, and you'd use your feet to operate the game. So you'd touch the earth because that would complete the circuit, and then you would touch these other buttons depending on what the game tells you to do. And then on the bottom, you would clip the alligator clips depending on where they're supposed to be connected to these spots. So that way the cords don't get in the way, because man, these cords get all over the place. So anyways, I don't have it set up right now because I took it down a while ago and it's just too much work. It's too messy. So I'm just going to use my arrow keys. But typically children would be using their feet to operate this. So the way this starts is I've got this little guy, and I haven't really done much to animate him because I was working so much on the activities that you do. So let's start the game.
Hi friends. Are you ready to play Jump Dance Play? Make sure you have room to move. After finishing each task, hit the same arrow button unless I tell you to switch to another arrow button. Click the up arrow button to start.
So typically it would look like this, and you'd have the game and it would be playing, but I wanted to show you what my code looks like since I worked so hard on this. Click on the up key.
Click the right arrow.
Click the right arrow.
Stand with your legs and arms spread out and then do 10 windmill toe touches.
Okay, so the first activity would be stand with your arms and legs spread out and do 10 windmill toe touches. So you would do that, and then you'd hit the same button again, the right
Stand
button.
with your legs and arms spread out and then do 10 windmill toe touches.
It randomizes, so it could randomly get the same one.
Dance until this music stops.
Dance until the music stops. I won't play the whole thing.
Click the left arrow. Skip in place for 10 seconds. 10.
This would be skipping in
9,
place for 10, 9, 8.
Move like the animal that you hear until the end of the song.
So they have to move like the animal that they heard, which is a dog barking, until the end of this song. So they start dancing like a dog.
Hop like a rabbit 10 times.
Hop like a rabbit 10 times.
Touch your head.
Touch your head.
Touch your knees.
Touch your knees.
Touch your head.
Touch your head.
Touch your toes. Touch your shoulders.
That's head, shoulders, knees, and toes. I need to randomize it, but that's what I had set up just so I could give an example of it today. 3 of the commands are dances, activities, different things they can do that would get them physical and moving. And one of them switches you to another arrow. So it tells you, touch this arrow, touch that arrow. And that is randomized as well. So you see I've got the random, the initial random, which is the up arrow, down, left, right. And then the other random, the one that says random arrow, is the next arrow you want it to move you to. So I had the kids playing this today, and they were having a blast. There were definitely some changes I needed to make to my controller. Not huge, but little changes. And then this program obviously has so many things that I want to do with it. For example, I would like to put a timer on it, like a minute timer, you know, like maybe 5 minutes, so that they're not playing this game for like to the end of time, because, you know, they were getting pretty exhausted after quite a few rounds. And then I want this guy to dance a lot more. The only time he moves is when I do the space bar.
Hi, friends. Are you ready to play Jump Dance Play?
But I'd like, you know, for him to do different things based on the activity he's having you do. And so at some point I would like to program this to do that. But like, this was such a fun activity and such a fun programming exercise that I'm like, oh, I'm going to make this for my actual class because it was so much fun. Okay, so I have finally finished the Chronicles of Narnia, and it's ending on kind of a bittersweet note because it was exciting to be able to finish the series, but I wasn't really a big fan of The Last Battle by C.S. Lewis. I'd probably give it a 2.5 stars. Now, coming right off of it, it could be that I'm just really disappointed with, well, for one, the ending was really weird. And I was like, wait, what? And there were a lot of problematic elements in this particular book, way more so than in the other books. And I just thought that there was no plot. There was no plot to this story. And so it didn't really catch my interest. There were a few times it did. And there were a few things I thought were interesting and nice, and I liked some of the elements that were brought back into the story from previous ones. And there were parts of the ending that were good. I don't want to give anything away, but then there was that very, very, very end, which I was like, what the heck? And it's really hard to say what I think about this at this moment, because it just seemed so strange of an addition to this series. So we're going to be doing a live show discussion on Christine's channel, An Autistic Reader, and this will be on Sunday, and we will be giving all our spoilery thoughts. And it'll be fun to talk about it there because maybe it'll give me a little more clarity, and maybe I'll feel a little differently about it. I don't know that my rating will go up much, but maybe I'll feel like, given some time, taking some space away from it, maybe I'll feel a little differently. As far as today, when I was trying to finish it, I was just like, let me get this over with. I'm so done with this. And so, yeah, it doesn't bode well, especially because it was narrated by Patrick Stewart, who was an incredible narrator. Like, he did so amazingly, and I'd like to listen to more audiobooks narrated by him. But even he couldn't keep my interest in this story. There were many times that I zoned out, or just was like, come on, just, is it the end yet? Which is not good, right? So, come and check out that discussion if you've already read this series. If you have thoughts on The Last Battle, I'd love to hear what your thoughts are. And maybe I'll get a little more clarity about it and hopefully feel better about the ending of this, because it kind of left my feelings about the series on a sour note. That was a bummer, because I really did like a lot of elements of the series. And there were certain books that I absolutely loved, and it made me realize, even this, there were some touching back on certain elements of previous books that made me go, yeah, I really did like that. Like Magician's Nephew, I really liked that book on reread, and I'm surprised now thinking about it how much I actually did like it. So, you know, there was a lot of positive things about this, but not a fan of the last battle. What you doing? You better get across quickly. Someone's enjoying the sun. Look, it's little Vanilla Latte. That's the outdoor cat that doesn't like us. But she likes being fed by us. Let's see what she said. How you enjoying the sun, little girl? What do you think? She thinks I'm gonna go away. So I have a lot I need to do today, and so I'm going to do rapid fire reviews for the books that I finished last night. I finished these all, well, actually I finished one of them this morning, but all of these are books that I finished yesterday on Friday, the 21st. And so I completed Time's Convert by Deborah Harkness. I'm giving this 4 stars, and what I think about this book is that there's not much plot, and so I feel like Deborah Harkness did an amazing job bringing us back the nostalgia of the characters we love, and still incorporating a lot of the history, which I think is a trademark of her writing style. You know, the creative history where she uses real history and combines it with the fiction of this story. One of our main characters, Phoebe, is going through this transformation of becoming a vampire, and she's just very annoying during that process. I mean, she's going through a rebirth and going through adolescence in a sense, and so we get that whole feel of her becoming an adolescent, and it's she's just annoying, like as you can imagine people would be when they're going through the drama of being young again. And then we get Marcus, who's Matthew's son, who we meet in the All Souls trilogy, and we're finding out his backstory. So we're finding all about his life from when he was a child up until the point where he's now kind of dealing with things because he's waiting for Phoebe to become a vampire. So it's really fun to see how Deborah Harkness likes to use real people from history to create them into characters for this story. And I just think that's a lot of fun. Some of the issues were, well, that the plot was not very strong. I think that in the All Souls trilogy, there's an underlying story, there's an underlying arc that is important to all 3 books. And we don't have that anymore in this book. And I think because of that, it just doesn't really have anything tying everything together. And so it is interesting, it's fun. I love seeing Diana and how her family is turning out in this book, and this how things are going for them. But I feel like going forward, I would love to see another arc that ties everything together. I want Deborah Harkness to make many other books, many other books about so many of the characters in this series, but it would be really nice if it just had something that brings everything together and gives it an underlying story arc, so there's more plot and there's not quite this just it's fun, and it was really good, and I'm giving it 4 stars because I still absolutely loved my process of reading this, but it wasn't the 5 stars that the whole trilogy gave me. The other one I want to tell you about is Fruits Basket Volume 6. This is the collector's edition, which has many volumes in it, and that's by Natsuki Takaya. And this one I'm going to give 3.75 stars. I actually am feeling like the last book and this book, they've been good and I've been enjoying these characters, but they feel so disjointed, and it still feels like we're in the middle of things and we're not quite, if we're getting resolutions to some things, like we get a little more of a keto in this, there's still a lot of waiting for things to happen for other things. And I mean, there's a little bit of progression forward, but it still feels so slow in places. I don't know if that's just how manga is always, because I had the same experience with Tokyo Ghoul. And I know that these are short volumes and you can't make every single volume like slap. I guess I'm still just waiting. I'm waiting and waiting and waiting for something big to happen or some reveal to happen, and I guess it's kind of a slow burn. But it's not even like the romance that I'm waiting for to happen. I'm just kind of waiting for some action or something like that. And there's little bits here and there. There's definitely a lot that happens in this one. I guess it didn't grab me as much as some of the other books have grabbed me. So 3.75 is still really good. I'm going to continue on this series, but I feel like I'm still waiting. And then finally, for the Magic Treehouse read-along, I finished the 2 books that I need to read for this month. One is Lions at Lunchtime, and I gave this one 3.25. I enjoyed it. It didn't really stick out to me. And then the other one is Polar Bears Past Bedtime, and I did enjoy this one a lot more. There were some elements to it that I was kind of like, how well was that handled? I don't know for sure. But I did like elements of this one more than this one. So I'm going to say 3.75. These are still not favorites of this series yet. So I had fun reading them. The other book I'm supposed to read for this month for Magic Treehouse is Hidden Figures, and I just don't know if this is going to happen. I don't think it's going to happen because I just have way too many other books that need to happen. And so I had kind of figured that the adult nonfictions for this read-along would be sort of maybe. If it happens, great. If it doesn't, it doesn't. And I don't think I'm going to have the time to do it. So I wanted to show you what this looked like mostly completed. As you see, I've added Last Battle Times Convert, Fruits Basket, and the Times Convert was the only one that was over 400 pages, and that was the one that they used to convince me to join. So I at least got one that was over 400 pages on here, and some of these didn't get any mark-offs, but, you know, I got some points. So I gave my team a little bit of help. They don't really need it. I would like to fill out this square. I do have My Brother's Husband by Gengoro Tagame, and I have been really wanting to read this. I picked it up from the library. If I can get to this weekend, I will add it, but I just don't know that it's going to happen. But that would be my option for this last spot here. Okay, so usually at this point in the video, I give you an update on what I'm currently reading. But I have finished most of the books that I was currently reading. Like I said, it's currently Friday. And I also want to do a special vlog this weekend. I'm hoping to be able to do it because I actually, like I said, have more time this week. I don't yet quite know what I'm going to be reading for that, but I also don't want to tell you what the possibilities are. Saving that for the vlog. So I am not actively reading anything at this point until the vlog is over. So, I mean, I have a lot of started books, but I don't know if we'll get those finished anytime soon. So that's basically it for this update. But let me know in the comment section down below. I know it's not fall for everybody. If it is fall for you, let me know what's one fall sort of activity you did this week. And if not, if you celebrate Halloween, let me know what Halloween spooky thing you've done this week, just to kind of get you in the spirit. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe so you can see what happens in the next week and the vlog that's coming up. I'm hoping it's going to be fun and a little spooky. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you later.